I guess this is, I would call this the liberation of the Johns, number 8. It's taking appropriation in a literal standpoint and actually appropriating the piece physically as a way to create a new or more interesting way of looking at something that's become a standard or almost banal.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
In English.
Taking an image and using it in your own way or changing its perspective enables the viewer to appreciate it on a different level or from just a different point of view, a broader range of interest.
I didn't know there was one goal, appropriation.
I don't think there is, but that's my goal.
I mean, is puerile and infantile and whatever that idea is, it seems to have some bite.
So it's a crate, a shipping crate,
It's
dolly that is on its way someplace else.
It's on its way to be discarded. The cutaway is just an illustration to show the subcrate inside. This is a piece of garbage. This is a chunk of wall that we would cut up and throw out of the museum. And so I salvaged this on its way out.
It's not a wall. It is a wall.
It was a wall.
It was a wall.
It was a wall at one time. It was an exhibition wall in the museum. Cut apart, pulled open, had a subcrate put inside, slipped the Johns into it, and slipped everything out of it over.
And so how does the viewer, where does all of that information come from? It seems kind of privileged. I mean, how do we know anything about that?
Isn't all information about art privileged?
No. But
I mean, not all art is accessible to all viewers, right? Sometimes you have to do a little research to understand things.
Sure.
So how did that fuel your kind of Marxist relationship?
I think it was a thing that just started as an instinct, that somehow stealing art could be art. That actually stealing it was a starting point. And
Well, I'm interested in the idea of appropriation art. I mean, I'm like you, I've lived through it.
Yes.
You know.
It's really confusing, though. I mean, I'm seduced by this piece because of the cutaway. I mean, I like those cartoony cutaways.
This isn't the time to look at the painting. The time to look at the painting is when it enters back into the collection of Zondervan. And people realize that this is more than just collection value or art history value or economic value.
I want to like it, but I just think,
Why do you not like it?
because I like the object, but I can't stand what you're saying about it. It's driving me crazy. Because I think it's bullshit.
Do you think?
Why do you think it's bullshit? What's bullshit about it?
Because it's potentially very interesting that you would steal the painting. I mean, it's this sort of macho bad boy artist thing where you steal a painting, replace a painting.
But you really did steal.
You really did steal the
took
painting.
that risk.
But that's infinitely more interesting than asserting that he could have.
6 months or a year from now, when they discover that the piece that they have in their collection that they're showing all over the country is a forgery. And then someone asks, well, why did the person that stole it not sell it and not make $4 million off it? Well, it's because that person actually appreciates the work. And that everyone else should appreciate it for that same reason.
The notion of appropriation, when it was radical in the 80s, had a power based not on fakery, but on, I guess, the difference between art and not art. A kind of Duchampian tension between taking the urinal and putting it up on the wall and calling it sculpture.
Are you saying you're a thief? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I'm a thief in a literal and artistic way.
It's not the real Johns.
Well, this isn't the real Johns. No, why would I bring the real Johns to a critique? That's crazy.
Is this a proposal? This is a
No,
mock-up
this is a visual, sculptural description of events that took place.
So it's
A three-dimensional storyboard, if you will, for the last part of the exit of the piece.
which has taken place already.
Taken place already. It took place this summer in June.
Most of the Johns has been stolen?
It's been stolen.
But no one knows it yet.
No one will know.
Everyone here.
Except everyone here.
Oh, well, that's a good piece. Congratulations.
Represents basically recycled components. Starts with like birth or something and the decay. It's made up of pieces that are disposable, I guess you could say.
Is that an Oreo cookie that it's sitting on? Because it looks a lot
Red
like.
licorice underneath it.
Doesn't it look a lot like an Oreo cookie?
It's a bottle made out of.
Plaster and styrofoam.
Plaster and styrofoam are disposable.
What's that pink stuff there? Is that wax?
This?
No, on the base, the sort
Saran
of,
wrap.
oh, saran wrap.
I sell, like, the styrofoam is like not disposable, but I salvaged it from just being thrown, you know, into a dump.
You described this piece
Is that
almost...
hamburger? Is that
Yes.
Or real meat?
meat? And maggots or rice?
It represents maggots. It's a type of egg, and the hand is supposed to be like, it's like something in there is like being born and it's coming out of the egg.
Well, it has a really strong decorative quality. I mean, it seems to be a critique of some kind, something oddly poignant about this little hand sticking out.
Well, I will volunteer that one of the most interesting parts for me is the hamburger, the raw hamburger, used in conjunction with these other slightly more traditional sculptural materials. The fact that that hamburger is not going to be the same tomorrow and next week and next month means that.
What's interesting to you about that?
Well, yeah, she mentioned that there's a sort of impermanence. Can you talk a little bit about how the idea itself came to be?
Well, with all the glass pieces, it took years. I just traveled around to different beaches and I just collected a bunch of sea glass. The egg was made of like different forms of styrofoam that I just put together.
You know, there's something very fetishistic about this object that you've made. It seems like in some ways, a doll. And that's what's so odd about it. Like some little doll, like, what
They
they
could
call
walk,
those little
like those
lawn
little things that
ornaments, you
walk.
know?
A shmoo.
A shmoo. But you know those little mechanized things that make wind-up things? It looks like that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know, you can see this on like what are all those home decorating shows where they're
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Put a lampshade out of it.
Yeah.
I thought it'd make an excellent lamp.
Except for the meat, you know.
Right.
It's not so much birth as evisceration. It's like reached in and it's you know showing us its
As a father,
Stuff, yeah.
I would sort of characterize as art made that's modestly made and sort of abject. It looks like unschooled and untutored and without value and without knowledge and without interest and all this,
Kind of like that.
all these, kind of like that. No, and all these negatives, one would think, especially in a place where we're trying to teach craft and idea and all that, that wouldn't be valued. In the contemporary art world, at least a few years back, this phenomenon called slacker art became hugely popular and celebrated. So it's interesting that you sort of unconsciously, or perhaps semi-consciously, made this a very hip and I think very saleable work.